Good morning, everyone. For those of you who are listening to this in the morning, that is, I have another short and sweet one for you this week, and it's all about post game routines. And we can definitely connect it back to post work routines as well after a long day. For those of you who don't play sports, because, like I always say, if you're human, you are performing. Post-game routines are very important for multiple of reasons. One is that you know what to expect every single time. Whether you played amazing or maybe you had a really off day, this is the routine that you're doing to help calm you and also helps you evaluate your performance that day. So, along with this, your post-game routine should never make you feel too high and it should never make you feel too low. It keeps you very neutral. We're never getting those super big egos. If we have a standout performance, we're always feeling a little humble and we're never attaching our self worth to the outcome of a bad performance. Two, another reason why post game routines are so important is that they're portable. So you can do them whether you are across the country, playing in a different venue, or just at the field right down the street from your house. This routine is your comfort. No matter how different the environment is, you can always come back to this. And three, post game routines help you stay calm and move you forward with a focus. It's not going to be productive to let yourself dwell on the awful things that happened. If you're dwelling for more than 10 minutes, it's probably not very beneficial. And I have a pretty good example of this to give. I was working with a college baseball player who would sit in his room and almost basically punish himself and not go out with his friends when he had a bad game. And he was in a pretty bad hitting slump. He was embarrassed. He was putting so much pressure on himself the next day in practice or the next game to redeem and make up for it. And when he did that, he was forcing things. He dug himself into a bigger and deeper hole. So with him, we had to look at multiple things. One, his post-game routine, which is what we're breaking down today, the pressure he was putting on himself and his athletic identity. So much of his identity was tied into the outcome of his hitting that when he had a bad hitting performance, he felt like an awful person. And he also assumed that others were thinking that of him too. Hence why he would just lock himself in his room and really isolate himself. So he came up with a plan to evaluate his performance and also I literally told him to go out with his friends, go be a college kid, go surround yourself with people. And what this did is it took his mind off baseball. He went out and did what 20-year-olds do. He saw himself in a different light. He had some fun, took his mind off of it, and he realized that no matter how he played, his friends still thought the same way of him. So for this baseball player, he was in this vicious cycle of not performing, working way too hard, isolating himself from people until he played good, but then he was forcing things and he was like, I'm in a slump, I'm in a slump, I'm in a slump. But he was never thinking about the right things that would actually get him out of the slump. And when it came down to it, the best thing for him was literally just to go out and have some fun with his friends. So I always tell my athletes, make sure you are not punishing yourself if you have a bad game. That's why it's so important to have a very consistent post-game routine. That way we're looking at the good things and we're looking at the things that could have gone better and giving yourself a plan of action going forward. I have three tips today for athletes to add into their post-game routines. And also, if you are working, you can add it into your post-work routine. So, tip number one is allowing yourself to have a little bit of a cool down period. Maybe you just lost a really tight match. And when you're emotional, you probably aren't going to be treating people the best. You aren't going to do anything productive. So give yourself about 30 minutes to just sit or walk, stretch maybe. Some of my hockey guys like to hop on the bike after their games just to cool down. I have some athletes who are so hangry after they play, they know they shouldn't interact with anyone or try to debunk their game till they have had food. And same goes for post work. Maybe you have a short or long commute to cool down from your day so you can walk into your family with a smile on your face. Maybe you need to eat a snack on your way home if needed so you aren't losing patience. Always like to go for a post work walk to just cool my mind down from going and talking all day long. So you know yourself best. If you need a cool down period so you can be the best version of yourself to those around you, then allow yourself to have that and prioritize it. Second post-game tip for athletes is to assess. And I've been mentioning this throughout. Always find the good. I tell my athletes to always be looking for 2 things that went well, 2 things that could have gone better, and how are you going to work on those this upcoming week? This helps you find the good, even for those games where you really got to dig deep to find the good. But if you're never giving yourself that credit, then you're definitely not going to be motivated to really repeat those things. I'll use golf for an example. If a golfer hits a good shot and they say, oh, well, it could have been better, they're never giving their brain that or their body that dopamine rush of, oh, that was good. I want to do that again and then again and again. It's very motivating. It can be very demotivating when you're only looking at the negative or only reacting to the negative. You're never giving yourself any sort of credit or acknowledgement. So always find the things that could have gone good and always find things that could have been better. And notice how I word that. I'm not saying what was awful today. I'm wording it as what could have been better. This keeps you humble and works on that growth mindset. You will never have a perfect performance, and this helps you see that and stay very realistic. Maybe some examples are I could have talked more, I could have driven to the basket better. My chip shot was really off today, so I could have done a better job with chipping or putting. Mentally, maybe you could have done a better job at letting go quicker or refocusing. Then from those things, you can make a plan going forward. And we always feel better when we have a plan going forward. If we had said, I can work on my talking, then, all right, in practice, I'm going to work on talking throughout the entire play, or I'm going to really work on these particular drills to have my chipping be more consistent for my next tournament. And we always feel better when we have a plan and when we know what we're doing. Think about when you were in school, or if you still are in school and you're writing a paper. Thinking about that paper can be so intimidating, but then you get the rough draft outline down and you naturally feel better. Like, okay, I have a direction. I've started this. That's great. That's why I always tell my athletes to have a plan, because then you can leave it there and know that you are going to come back to it the next day and attack it. So we've talked about allowing yourself to have a cool down period, assessing, and then the third thing is to be with people or go do something else, whether that's watching a funny show, eating a good dinner, but don't be punishing yourself for playing bad like my college baseball player. That's not going to help you. It will probably make you feel less of a person. Sometimes I think this is easier for my older athletes, like professionals who have families, whether they threw 2 touchdowns or 2 picks, they still have to go home and change a diaper. It doesn't matter. Their kid doesn't care. They still see them as mom and dad. So overall, post-game routines really help you reset. They give you a good plan moving forward. They keep you grounded so you're not letting one game completely unravel you. And for help on personalizing a post-game routine for you, please reach out to me, Georgia, at rootedsportspsychcoach.com, or visit my website, rootedsportspsychcoach.com. Thanks for tuning in, you all, and I will see you next week.